Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is me once again, screaming into the void of the internet. You know, I wanted to talk about something because a coworker of mine mentioned something at work that I wanted to talk about. Now, this is the same coworker that I've mentioned a few times about, like, workplace infidelity and how, she had a boyfriend and she was, like, basically saying to another guy that was interested in her that you don't see a ring on my finger, do you? Like, all kinds of stuff like that, right? Essentially, I'm originally not from, like, the area that I'm in right now. I'm from a lower part of Florida, you know. And she asked, what's to do for fun there. And I said, it's a lot to do because that area that I'm from, and I don't want to be specific, okay? I'm sure you can figure it out. South Florida, very popular area, so I'm sure you can figure it out. But that part of Florida is very expensive, and let's say like you can go if you want to spend money. Because I wouldn't know too much. Because what I do for fun down there when I was there, guys, was I would occasionally go to Renaissance fairs and with my bro and go to arcades and bowling and stuff like that. But her version of fun was the bars and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I wouldn't know because I don't drink. And she said, you're boring. And I was like, yeah, everyone says that until they see my bank account. But I wanted to talk about you're boring, not because I take it personally, but because that is a statement or an insult that they try and throw at a lot of guys in general these days, that you're boring. And it's not necessarily just said by double X's. It's said by like even other guys, like you're boring, especially like if it has something to do with you being sober. And personally, I don't really care if you drink or do drugs, but like I'm gonna say something about that real quick. This lifestyle that a lot of people seek to lead, this fame on the internet, all the filters on their pictures, this I'm having the time of my life. People don't seem to understand that that lifestyle is expensive. If you want to do it, by all means, but don't sit around here and complain about the state of the economy, about how you can't afford anything, you can't do this, and then you're doing stuff like going to Coachella, buying freaking lattes that are like $20, like buying caviar burgers for $30. Like I find it very amusing that people will talk all day about how bad the economy is and about the stagnant wages, and then they just blow through their money anyway. I don't sit around here and suck off like jobs and stuff like a wage cut by any means, okay? Like work sucks. I get it. But if you earn money, like you have to decide what you're going to do with it. When you go out to these super expensive like parties and you go to like these events and stuff like that, like these Swifties and stuff like that, basically like if you didn't know, for like Taylor Swift concerts, a lot of times you have scalpers that'll like get multiple tickets and then they'll resell those tickets, and Swifties will literally sometimes spend $700 just to see this some freaking skinny freaking plank board chick butt on stage. Like it's insane. And they're gonna sit around here and go, oh, the wages are stagnant, oh, we're not earning enough money, oh, the rent's too expensive. Yes, that stuff is true, but what are you doing with the money that you do have? Like if you're going out here and you're just blowing through it, you have no right to sit around here and say that it's the economy's fault. It is partially the economy's fault, but what are you doing in the midst of the economy? The fact of the matter, guys, is that if I had a double X in my life, I would not have the bank account that I have right now. I probably might not even be able to work the hours that I would, because she'd be saying, well, you're not giving me enough attention. God forbid that I'm out here like, busting my balls trying to earn some money to, keep the relationship stable, but, that's not enough. Then you're probably going to be getting cheated on and cucked in the meantime. But the reason why I say this stuff is because, listen, guys, nothing's wrong with you wanting to go and, like, live your lives, okay? Like, we earn money, and I don't think you should just only spend it, like, staying inside. You should go out and explore and stuff within reason. But you don't have to break the bank to do it. Double X's, on the other hand, that's just not something that they can see, Well, then they have to break the bank. Well, then they have to do anything that just blows through the cash. That's why I will always say that they are creatures of excess. You see what I'm saying? Most of them are. Don't sit around here and say that, okay, well, the one that I have, like, it's not that good for her, but, like, that's not how it is for most. They're creatures of excess. There is a reason why markets cater towards them. They know who's going to spend the money. The fact of the matter is that if a guy doesn't have a double X on his arm, like, most of the time, he's not spending that much money. I know because I'm him, But for the most part, guys, what I do with the money that I earn is obviously save, right? Save, Food, water, clothing, shelter. Well, I haven't really spent much on clothing in a while, to be honest. I bought like a jacket for my motorcycle just recently, and that's pretty much it. Food, water, clothing, shelter. Like the necessities and the occasional, escort. That's pretty much it. Outside of that, like I'm saving most of the money, especially now that I'm riding the motorcycle. So it's really nice to not have to spend money just every time I want to go somewhere. That's all I'm really concerned with. You know, being boring, in spite of what anyone may tell you, whether they're a double X or someone like maybe shaming you about being sober or something like that. Like to tell you the truth, guys, you'll save way more money than these people. They'll say that you're boring and they don't have anything to show for it. They have nothing to show for it. They might show face. And what that basically means is, they'll dress up, they'll wear their wealth, right? But where is their actual wealth? If you look at the bank account, they might not even have like $500 to their name. They might not even have $500 to their name. But here they are flexing the Nikes, flexing the Jordans. They've got this super expensive car bill that they can't afford, and it's like $700 a month. It blows me away that people are out here in such a fake society where no one cares about anyone and it's all about narcissism, and they still try and like say, guys, look at me. One of the best things about the black pill for me is being aware of human nature and just going like, this is pointless. Why would I bother dealing with this? Because like I said before, guys, I really think that the black pill doesn't stop at relationships. It stops at human nature. When you just look at how the world operates and you look at the way that things are. And you can decide, leading your life in the supposed acceptable manner by a clown world society is just, it's a nightmare. It's exhausting. And you can choose to just take this information and go, no, I'm going to do something else. I could care less if you say that it's positive, negative, boring, whatever. I'm going to just lead the life that I want to live. And that's how I do it. For me personally, I'm not really one of these people that's, some super optimistic person. I don't pretend not to understand the state of the economy. Listen, the fact of the matter, guys, is I earn solid money, not because my job pays very well. I'm probably making just slightly, and I do mean slightly, like maybe $2 above standard minimum wage. But what gets my money is the fact that I'm willing to usually do overtime. That's what usually gets my money. And as a result, I don't know if inflation has caused the poverty line to like go up, but originally what the poverty line was at, I'm probably making at least, if it's consistent, okay, like maybe like $5,000 more than the poverty line. So it's not like I'm loaded, but because my rent is so low and because my expenses are so low, like I'm doing pretty okay. And again, hopefully by the end of this year, I will have a good amount saved, especially now that, I'm just riding my motorcycle instead. Still do need to get this thing checked out, but these freaking people close early. Like, they close insanely early, and it's very irritating. So I need to just wake up super early. But I couldn't do that today. I was going to try and do it today, but I don't want to get too sidetracked. But what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is this, okay? When somebody tells you that they're somebody who likes fun, most of the time that they're usually referring to, I like to just burn through my cash. I like to have a good time, and I don't know how to do that without, saving my money. Because for me, guys, having a good time is just, sometimes just going out to a restaurant. It doesn't have to be a super expensive one. It doesn't have to be a cheap one like McDonald's either. It could just be like, I don't know, an Olive Garden. It could be a Longhorn Steakhouse or something like that. It could have a good meal. It could maybe be going to a, what is it? Like a bowling alley or something like that, Like, it doesn't have to involve, going to some stupid nightclub with a bunch of strangers, worrying about somebody spiking your drink or doing stuff like that, where you as a man got to spend all this money to get in, and then you're there for what? Like, because let's be real, like, if you're there because you're trying to meet somebody in this day and age, good freaking luck. Like, if you ain't Chad, good luck. That's all I can say. So what are you there for? Are you there for the music? Because I can listen to the music at home, and I don't got to spend money to do that. I don't have to spend gas to do that. I can just listen to it from the comfort of my home. Are you there to take pictures for social media? Because, hey, again, unless you're a really good-looking fella, your followers is not going to be pretty high. Let's just be honest. Unless you're a very talented person art-wise or meme-wise. So, yeah. Fact of the matter, gents, is when it comes down to having fun, one of the best ways is honestly the way that most guys do anyway. It's just playing video games. It's the cheapest, reliable way to have fun, and you only spend maybe like 60 or 70 bucks, unfortunately, now. And you have it right there, hopefully forever. I hope you're not one of these people playing like Call of Duty and all these other PvP garbage games, but if you're actually playing some stuff like Dark Souls or freaking Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, you're playing these kinds of games, yeah, you got fun right there. Whenever you want, at your fingertips, you know? Because the truth of the matter, guys, is being boring in a lot of people's eyes, you want to know what that really is? It's being stable. People, for some reason, are enamored with chaos and instability. They think it's fun, they think it's awesome, until they realize that their bank accounts are empty. And if it's a relationship involved, right, in that matter, right? Okay, you were chaotic, but now that your bank account's empty or my bank account's empty, I'm gonna go find, the air quotes safe guy and stuff like that. And remember, she doesn't like him by any means, but she's there because he has some stuff. And so now, what she's probably gonna do is go to the safe guy and use him and use his bank account to continue living a chaotic life. And no. No, 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 no. No. So I just thought it was funny. I wanted to share that with you guys because, guys, it's just so funny that people think that all of this information that people have put on the internet about the black pill, red pill, whatever it is, right? This is all BS. And then time and time again, just in the workplace, just out in daily life, just listening in on conversations, not necessarily like as a creep, but just like, let's be real, some people talk incredibly loud and they're so easy to overhear. And you just listen to them just prove time and time again the talking point. It's very humorous. It very is. It really is, man. It's just, I really don't understand personally why guys think they're missing out on something with this BS. Like, it'd be one thing if it was just like reasonable people out here, but guys, people out here are not reasonable. That is the last thing on their mind. I think it's mainly due to the fact that in their own way, they're not perhaps black pilled like us, but they're black pilled in the way that they feel like they hate a lot of stuff in life. They hate working and stuff. And so for them, they're trying to escape via fun. And I get that. But they do that at a rate that basically guarantees that they have nothing at all to show for it. And yes, this double X that I mentioned that, kind of sparked this talking point. Yeah. She just recently got out of a breakup, in spite of the fact that she was basically flirting with a whole bunch of guys there at the place. And yeah, like she doesn't even work a lot as it is. Like, she would always call out and stuff. It's just, yeah, go ahead and keep focusing on having fun, like blow through the money and you won't have anything to show for it. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't want to gossip too much in personal details. It's just, the story writes itself, it really does. So that's all I really wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully it's not going to rain today because it was raining yesterday, but luckily it didn't rain when I got to work and I got back. So all I ask is that if it rains, just rain when I'm at work and don't rain when I'm on my way home, Golly. It's been nice though, gents. It's been nice. The only thing I need to do now is just find someone to freaking do an oil change, and I have, but these people freaking close so early. It's just so infuriating, considering that I'm a night shift. But whatever, it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Remember that there is life beyond your pain. Endure the bad days to enjoy the good days. God bless. I will see you guys next time.